Welcome to Twinning Time with us here at Liberty Living. We have a 7-step mindset mastery challenge using a panacea system. So we're going to show you how to use the panacea, and we're dedicating 7 minutes each day to focusing on positive psychology, an improved mindset, and raising our vibration to align to our desired outcomes by breaking epigenetic patterns and old belief paradigms to develop and master a winning mindset. In this video, we will be covering solutions to break inherent patterns and recode subconscious programming to permanently improve outcomes to specific conditions, since there's no quick fixes. So stay tuned. So step 1 is breaking patterns and using a 7-step panacea model. So for those who want to align to new outcomes and need quick solutions or just tune up and are ready to overcome a present challenge, whether it's related to childhood, epigenetic, or generational patterns. By utilizing proven recoding strategies, therapeutic questions, and exercises to overcome sabotage behaviors and limiting beliefs related to unhealthy negative patterns. We believe in a holistic approach to healing, which addresses the whole scope of the individual. When we transform our core internal programming, we will transform all other facets of life because they are symptoms of the problem. For instance, when we heal our psychology, we'll improve our finances, relationships, health, behaviors, and so forth. So if you want healthier behaviors and decision making, then mastering a healthy mindset will ensure success in each domain of life. Our purpose is to empower individuals, professionals, couples, and families to leverage advanced psychological tools that will enable them to successfully live their ideal reality, liberating families and future generations.
Welcome to step 2 of the 7-step challenge. Now, whether you're using these strategies for yourself or whether you're a coach, a counselor, or a therapist and you're using these strategies for your clients, remember that the general rule is to master your own medicine. So we must work at first mastering these principles and our own mindset ourselves. Then we will be better qualified to help others.
And even if you're working on your own obstacles and problems, these steps will ensure that you can help yourself through these obstacles so you can also help clients. So step 2 is adaptive emotional responses. This is one of the most vital steps so that we ensure we're not going in circles around the problem and we can advance to the next step. So if lessons are repeated until they are learned, then there's a valuable lesson that's meant to be gained. There are shortcuts to help us reach this conclusion. So by identifying the pattern or the presenting problem, we can identify the perceived void in our programming. It's most commonly a need to feel good enough, acknowledged, validated, etc. So therefore, you may be doing everything in your power to prove it, or in contrast, you may feel as if there's no point in trying, which will manifest either polarity. So examples may be working too hard, overachievement in productivity, or proving intellectual, financial, marital status, competency, and so forth. So this helps us to identify the blind spot and the limiting belief.
Yeah, so look for the belief, whether in your client or in yourself, of being undeserving of love, because this may lead to the perception or the reality that one's love is rejected. And it may also result in self-defeating behaviors, which we just described, and it obstructs the ability to achieve goals whose attainment would conflict with the subconscious belief of unworthiness. So such beliefs may stem from neglect, abuse, or separation from mother or other caretakers at birth or during early childhood, and insufficient attention or nurturing, and also from transgenerational patterns of dealing with these issues. These beliefs may lead to hyperachievement, as we discussed, as the individual attempts to justify self-value through accomplishment. The individual may experience feelings of guilt and shame or have difficulty bonding with others emotionally, and may mistake physical intimacy with love and connection.
And in step 1, just to reiterate that the most common saboteurs that we have is from this programming, which continues to create the same pattern. And it's often that perceived void of where we don't feel good enough. Shame is underscoring these inherent programs, such as not feeling enough, whether it's not feeling smart enough, wealthy enough, loved enough, or deserving enough, and so forth. So therefore, the meaning assigned to the presenting problem is where we don't feel like enough. And this is what keeps the programming reliving. So to identify the limiting belief of and not good enough syndrome, we will be able to ask the question of what have we assigned to the presenting problem to identify the shame. And we can also answer some of the following questions, such as, what is the highest choice? Because the good news is that fear and excitement are cousins, but they focus on different outcomes. So once we have discovered the fear, then we can easily move from resistance to a given outcome to override fear by generating excitement of the outcome. And when we ask what the highest choice is, it also helps us to remove the conflicting and limiting belief. So if money, health, time, or energy, so forth was no object, then what outcome would you want? We also cover more of this in our next step of neutralizing emotional scars and triggers. So we can use an ABC model to also identify this. A, what is the adversity that you are experiencing? B, what is the belief and thought to the adversity? C, what is the consequence of this belief, such as what do you feel or what is your behavior? And what are you resisting to help identify the limiting belief or the fear? So can you come to terms and accept the problem rather than turning to unhealthy coping mechanisms, such as resisting and denying? And when we judge ourselves, we use shame as the weapon to use unhealthy escaping.
And just to elaborate on escaping, escapism leads to codependency and other addictions to anesthetize the pain instead of facing it with ease through these steps. So here are some reflection questions. Can you allow yourself to be a work in progress to proactively address it? Can you identify any judgments you have perceived from others or held towards yourself related to your challenge? Some adaptive emotional responses are accepting and coming to terms with the present reality, which teaches us how to self-regulate and create emotional autonomy instead of denying or dissociating, which are distortions from suppressing our feelings.
And thinking positive alone doesn't make the problem disappear because it's a form of coping and an escaping behavior by numbing or suppressing the pain. When we are in an avoidance or denial of the problem, it's often due to approaches that we were taught or conditioned in society, such as tough it out, soldier on, and just let it go. And these are specific implications that sweep it under the rug. And those methods have resulted in repression and shame, causing even greater repercussions of destructive and toxic behaviors, instead of demonstrating understanding and empathy. Therefore, it can breed imbalanced behaviors, such as self-centeredness or even narcissism. We're meant to be human and not machines. So we want to normalize feelings in our society for emotional freedom, resilience, and healthy self-regulation. And once we can accept and make peace with the feeling, then we will be able to neutralize and find balance within them.
So if you or your client begins to affirm the solution or the ideal outcome and painful feelings begin to surface, then it's likely that there are suppressed emotions that still need to be addressed. There can be layers addressed at a time, and it works in an upward spiral. So we'll need to move through the feelings by becoming present to the feeling or the trapped emotion without judging it or without trying to correct it, but only by honoring the emotions to be released. You need to actually just feel it raw, just as it is. You or your client will most likely want to have private space to do this, and it's an indicator that the trapped emotion was successfully identified and brought to the surface to then effectively release it. So don't make it a goal to cry or get your client to cry. However, it is a good indicator that it's locating the trapped emotion, resolving the underlying programming and repressed emotion. Not everyone will release emotion the same way or in that moment. Be okay if you or your client knows how to laugh at your troubles. However, crying is the most common way to release trapped emotion and is often a cathartic experience. Laughing at our problems can be healthy and help us make light of them, but watch out if we or our clients have a tendency to use humor as an escape and a poor coping mechanism to avoid feeling and processing the pain. An individual may experience subconscious stress when they have not grieved the disappointments and losses of relationships and life experiences. As this stress increases, the subconscious attempts to suppress it. Healthy grieving may naturally occur as the person gets in touch with his or her emotions. If the individual has blamed past negative experiences on others, then forgiveness becomes an important part of letting go. And anger frequently will mask grief issues and resulting from feelings of loss or betrayal, which the individual doesn't yet know how to release in a healthy manner. Disappointments and distress may manifest as anger and self-sabotage. So be sure to watch out for that. A willingness to initiate or accept changes can correct problems and prevent subconscious anger from building in the first place. And that's one reason why it's a very important adaptive emotional response. With a calm security gained through the release of subconscious anger-related stress, completion of the grieving process, and willingness to face challenges, the individual can then become better able to experience harmony and appreciate beauty appropriately. Self-love is the panacea, and self-care is the antidote that opens the door to self-love.
So taking a moment to honor the feeling and acknowledging some of the hardships that you have been through using emotional validation is actually one of the best ways to move through this step. Otherwise, simply by acknowledging and cognizing the problem alone, we can begin to resolve it and advance to the next step and solution. So I recommend leaving each step on a high note or at the conclusion of each session by asking questions to stay on course with your desired goal. You can also conclude with any of these questions, such as, what is your highest choice or ideal outcome? What new or small steps can you take today to accomplish your goal? And what do you intend to get out of this? Or what do you value most about and related to this experience or step? And what did you gain or learn today? What value was reinforced? Value is always going to be the best step to access love and what we do love to help transform the problem. So what new opportunities are you ready for? And what can you surrender or let go of to trust the process?
So if you wish to learn more and are truly ready to transform your conditions and your relationships from inherent programming for good, then go ahead and click the link below to get started to access our complete 7-step panacea system. Please let us know if you gained any value from this, and by sharing this video with your loved ones, liking and subscribing so we can make more beneficial